folks, welcome back to Nostalgianomics. Have I got a surprise today? I found footage of my second ever MMA fight from 15 years ago when I was 18 years old. So I thought I would go ahead and share that with you today because I know I talk about how I used to fight. A lot of people ask questions about it. Well, I actually have some of the footage. Now look, the fight scene was not what it is today 15 years ago. It was not a televised event, all right? It's filmed by a friend of mine in the audience. So the footage is a little raw, but it does catch the entire fight, which isn't long, by the way. Also, this goes to send a message to all the cabal out there, always trying to talk shit all over YouTube. My patience will wear thin before long. I'm just kidding. I did want to give him a clip to pull out to, talk about how I promote violence and all that. But no, this was done in a ring with a ref, with judges as a sport. Not promoting any type of violence here. But after that, we are going to jump into an actual video and talk about the macroeconomic factors going on right now that actually look very positive going into 2024. And what I mean by that is you hear all this negativity, especially on YouTube in the Pokemon collectible space. And then you hear it on the media and all the talking heads talking about how bad things are. However, is anyone actually looking at the numbers and the charts, or is everyone just giving their opinions or regurgitating information that they hear on the TikToks or other places on YouTube or wherever? Because when I'm looking at all these charts and graphs and information about how well all the investments are doing, about how low all the delinquency rates are on pretty much everything across the economy, and everyone's paying their bills and making money and making more money in their investments, I just can't figure out where everyone is finding the negativity. And so we're going to jump into that. I'm going to show you exactly what I found. But first, let's take a look at Alex's second mixed martial arts fight. Here we go.
Sitting in the dark, I can't forget. Even now I realize the time will never get. Another story of the bitter pills of fate. I can't go back again. I can't go back again. But you asked me to love you.
That's it. That's it. So yeah, it was only about a minute long. I ended up pretty much destroying him on the feet. Took him down. Tried to get the choke in, had to loosen him up with some punches, eventually got the choke in and ended it with a rear naked choke. So that was my second fight ever, and I only ended up having 3 fights because when I was training for my fourth one, I did end up hurting my back pretty bad. I ended up having to get lower back surgery in my early 20s. And again, at that time, I was already, operating my lawn care landscaping company, and I needed my body for that. And so I decided to give up fighting because I just didn't want to get injured anymore, and it just wasn't worth it at that point. And so who knows where I would have went with it. But hey, that was the first fight. Hope you all enjoyed that. And that gives you some proof that, I actually used to have what it takes. I used to be able to throw down a little bit before I just started talking about Pokemon and collectibles on the internet. So let's jump into the rest of this video now. All right. So let's look at the Bitcoin market. All right. This is the Bitcoin all-time chart. You'll see the massive run-up lately. But let's look at the last year, right? We've seen now anyone invested in Bitcoin go from 16,000s all the way in the 40,000s. So a lot of people, if they've held this year, they're up like 150% on their money. Now, one thing we've seen in the past is the Bitcoin, other speculative markets overlap with Pokemon collectibles and TCGs quite a bit, right? A lot of people who invest in speculative assets, they usually diversify in a lot of speculative assets. So as we saw during the pandemic with a lot of the crypto money, we could see this crypto money pour into Pokemon if we start seeing Bitcoin and other cryptos cool off, because people are going to want to take their profits. And a lot of these people don't just throw their money in something like an index fund. They want those higher than average returns, and they're going to look around where those are at. And a lot of them might come back and put money, or come for the first time and put money into Pokemon. So that's one of the positives of Ethereum. It's the same way. Here's the 1-year Ethereum chart. It's broken out. It's heading up. You guys are going to try to push its all-time highs. But here's how it's at for the year. Same type of thing as Bitcoin. It was in the 1200s. Now it's in the 2000s, almost 100% gains as of now. And then we look at the regular stock market. Anyone just investing in funds and, regular, stocks. Look at this. Here's the S&P. 1 year high. Not only that, it's at all-time highs. So as bad as everything is supposed to be, the stock market's at all-time highs. NASDAQ, same way. 1 year high, almost at all-time highs. Dow Jones, same way. 1 year high, almost at all-time highs. What this says is, well, a lot of people, they continue to invest and they never really pull out their investments until retirement or whatever it may be. But some people in a lot of these stocks where they've seen massive gains on, they will take profits, right? And they will look elsewhere, especially the ones who look for the more speculative companies and the single stocks and things like that. Not as much your fund investors, but a lot of those people are going to continue to look for opportunities. And a lot of the stocks are ran up and there's not a lot of opportunity and the cryptos ran up. They might start looking for other assets such as Pokemon and other non-registered assets and things like that. Gold, the gold market, precious metals market, all-time highs. Gold is at its all-time highs. Same thing there. A lot of people, when things reach all-time highs, they start thinking about profit taking. And when they take profits, they got to put that money elsewhere. And if everything else is up, they might start looking at all unregistered assets. Not all of them are going to find Pokemon, right? But if some of those people are into Pokemon and they have extra money they've made in X, Y, and Z place, they may start putting some of that money back into Pokemon. All right. So that's where people's money's coming from, right? Everyone's got a lot of money they've made from investments this year. Then you're saying, well, Alex, what about the average person? No one can pay their bills. Right. Houses are too expensive. Interest rates are too high. Cars are too expensive. Car interest rates are too high. Credit card debt's over $1 trillion, right? No one can pay their loans. Does anyone actually look at the numbers or charts, or do we just regurgitate what we hear from the talking heads? Does everyone just give their emotional opinions? I look at the numbers. That's why none of those things affect me. Let's look at them together, shall we? Here's the credit card delinquency rate, all right? That means even though we're in $1 trillion of debt, people are paying their bills. This goes back to 91. This is over a 30-year chart. 30 years, all right? Even when the economy was good back in the 90s, the delinquency rate was higher, all right? Here's the big Y2K, dot-com bubble burst, right? They were pretty high. Here's the big 07, 08 recession. Things were high. Here's where we're at now, right? Not as low as it was in 2020, 2022. Some of the lowest delinquency rates, meaning the lowest amount of people not paying their bills ever in the past 30 years. Maybe credit card debt's up, but people are paying their bills. They can afford it, okay? Residential single-family mortgages. No one can pay their bills. Mortgages are too high. Houses are too expensive. Interest rates too high. Well, we're at one of the lowest delinquency rates ever in history right now. Ever in history. You can see what it looked like during the 2007, 2008 crash. They skyrocketed. You can even see what they were like back in the 90s when the economy was good. They were higher than they are now. So for everyone complaining about the real estate market, you know why prices are high? You know why interest rates are high? Because people can freaking afford it and they keep buying it and paying their bills. That's why. All right, delinquency rate on all loans, personal loans, any type of loan you could think of that banks give out. Here's the numbers on those. Here's back in the 80s. Here's in the 90s. Here's where the big, 07, 08 crash was. Here's where we're at now. Lowest numbers ever in history of delinquent loans. Here's the auto loans. Lowest numbers in the past 5 years on auto loans. Everyone's paying their bills. Here, this is the best one. Business loans. Business loans are at all-time lows on delinquencies, meaning people who are starting companies are doing well. They're becoming successful and they're paying down their business loans. They're not defaulting on them. This tells you that the economy is even stronger than we think because anyone starting new businesses and taking business loans, they're paying their bills. They're successful enough to service that debt and continue to be profitable as a business. All right, this is the last thing I got for you. 401k millionaires. 401k millionaires is back on the rise. The account balance has surged. You're saying, well, Alex, obviously, 401, S&P, NASDAQ, Dow, all the stocks are up. Yeah, that's one of the reasons. But look at this. 25% increase year over year. 25% more 401k millionaires. Yes, this means that their investments are rising. This also, though, means they're not taking the money out. They're not using it for hardships in their life. They're continuing to contribute. They're continuing to leave that money in there to grow because they don't need it. They're making enough to pay their everyday bills. They're letting their investments grow. So when you hear all this emotional talk on YouTube about Pokemon and emotional talk on the news stations with the talking heads about how terrible everything in the economy is, how all this negativity, those are the actual numbers. All right. The majority of people can afford their homes, can afford their cars, can afford their debts, and they're paying them, right? Anyone who invested in pretty much anything this year, gold, silver, Bitcoin, Ethereum, S&P, stocks, whatever it may be, you made a ton of money this year. All right. Even most Pokemon stuff, right? Unless people want to try and cherry pick data and show a Pokemon card that goes up 200% and then it drops 30, 40, 50%. So then they take that little snapshot and they say, hey, look, things are crashing. It's like, no, people made tons of money. So they're taking their profits off the table. And that's what's happening, right? But no one wants to tell you that side of things. So this gives you a broad perspective of the macroeconomic trends happening in the actual economy. It gives you a good idea of what you could expect of money pouring into Pokemon in 2024. And when that starts happening, right, everyone starts to get, feel a little better, right? Confidence starts to return to the market. And we don't want to see what happens when confidence will return to the market in Pokemon, because if people start becoming overly confident and some of those bearish channels start preaching bullish advice again, sky's the limit. I don't want to know what things could go to. Now, obviously, next year is an election year here in the U.S. There's a lot of craziness going on in the world. I understand nothing's a for sure thing. But if things continue pretty much the same trends we're seeing right now, there's a lot of money sloshing around out there that people have made in investments this year, right? There's a lot of people making money because they're paying all of their loans, especially their business loans, which this tells me there could be a lot of money returning to a lot of hobbies that people enjoy or a lot of untraditional assets people enjoy investing in when they've already seen a ton of appreciation in other assets and they're looking for other things that are underappreciated or undervalued to continue to grow their net worth. So take this information for what you will. Let me know in the comment section what you think of all this. Let me know in the comments what you think about that fight I had. And I will be back here in a live tonight. So I've got Old Card Shop and I've got Ponga coming on for a live. I might try to find another guest too, but it's all going to be about how to make money in this hobby, right? All of us have very different strategies. There's a ton of different strategies you could take. It could be English. It could be Japanese. It could be modern. It could be vintage. It could be sealed. It could be slabs. It could be singles. Tons of different ways. It could be in-person events. It could be online. It doesn't matter, but we're going to talk about all that good stuff tonight. So make sure to show up. It's going to be at 8 o'clock Central Time tonight. I hope to see you all there. And if you're seeing this video after the fact, today's date is December 12th, 2023. So if you see this, that's when the live was going to be had that night. So for that confusion there. But other than that, guys, if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel. My name is Alex. This is Nostalgianomics. Be back here in a new video soon. I'm out.